welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Today we are looking at day 2 of our story, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. So this story actually comes from a collection of Arabic stories, or they were originally in Arabic and they were translated and put into a collection which is called 1001 Nights, or it's also known as Arabian Nights. Now this is one of the more famous stories from that collection, but there's actually one other story which is even more famous, and that is Aladdin.
Yes. Yes, and I would guess that probably a lot of you know about Aladdin, but maybe don't know that it came from this original story. But you can kind of guess that because a lot of Disney stories have old fairy tale or fable kind of origins, or they came from that. But of course, Disney kind of takes the bits and pieces that they want and they kind of leave out things that they don't want, because this story is actually, or this collection of stories, there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of like kind of themes that maybe would not be great in a kid's movie like Aladdin. But yes, the original Aladdin is from this set of stories. And also there's a third Aladdin, if you didn't know. There's Aladdin 1, Aladdin 2, and Aladdin 3.
I thought you mean of the Disney movies.
Of the Disney movies.
Okay.
And in the third Aladdin movie, they actually kind of take this story and take bits and pieces of this story, because it's called Aladdin and the King of Thieves. And in that, Qasim, which we've already met in day 1, is actually Aladdin's father and is the king of the 40 Thieves. And so they kind of take pieces of it and use them kind of how they want. So not an accurate retelling of these stories, but kind of fun to watch and kind of a fun little introduction to these types of tales. And if you enjoyed Aladdin, or you enjoy the series of Aladdin, then maybe you'd want to read the original.
And then you can also read Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. All right, well, we're gonna get into reading more about this story today, so let's take a look.
Alibaba recovered his brother's body, but this helped the thieves realize that someone else knew their secret. Their leader came up with a plan. He disguised himself as an oil seller and asked to stay the night at Alibaba's home. He also hid his men who were ready to attack on his signal inside large oil jars. That night, Morgiana, a clever slave girl, went to get some oil from the jars and found the hiding men. Before anyone could make a move, she poured boiling oil into each jar and killed them all. When their leader gave his signal and got no answer, he ran away in fear.
Okay, we are looking at day 2 of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. And so we are going to continue right now and see what's going to happen. Again, we just left off where Qasim had been in the cave, of this magic cave with all the wonderful jewels and silks and all that. And they caught him in there because he couldn't remember the magic word to get back out. So continuing on with our story, we read, Alibaba recovered his brother's body, but this helped the thieves realize that someone else knew their secret. So I can kind of see that why he would want to do that. He'd want to go in and take the body out and maybe give him a proper burial. But it is true that if he removes him, then the 40 Thieves are going to be like, hey, who did that? Someone else must know our secret.
Right. All right, continuing with the story, their leader came up with a plan. He disguised himself as an oil seller and asked to stay the night at Alibaba's home. All right, so he's dressing up in some sort of costume to make himself look like an oil seller, or at least to make himself not look like a thief. A thief, sorry.
Yes. And but I guess if he has 4, well, we'll see in the next part. But I have a question about how he's carrying all these oil jars. But we'll see that in a second. So Continuing on, it says, he also hid his men who were ready to attack on his signal inside large oil jars. This is the part that I'm wondering. How he's got like 40 giant jars with men in them. How is he carrying all that to the house? Like,
well, people have vehicles like carts and things, even back at this time.
40 big jars? I feel
Maybe
like that's
he has multiple carts with camels like pulling them.
Maybe. All right. It's hard for me to imagine. It just seems like a lot for one person to carry around. Anyway, we had this noun signal in this sentence. And so a signal is just anything that can be used to warn or get somebody's attention or to tell someone something. So you could have really anything could be a signal. You could have a whistle be your signal. You could raise up your hand and that could be a signal. You could have a flag to signal. And what it signals is also anything. You could say, when I whistle, that means start the game. When I put my hand up, that means everybody stop. So a signal is just something that you do that means something else. So our example sentence is, the traffic light gave a signal for cars to stop. When you see the light turn red, that signals you and tells you this is time to stop.
So their leader of the thieves has these jars which are supposed to be of oil, but they are full of people. So a jar is a cylindrical container, usually a deep container that is typically made of glass, but could also be made of other things. As I imagine in this case, you can't see inside them or you'd see the thieves. So we often use jars to store different food products, just like how you might have a jar of peanut butter. So an example sentence, the jars are full of honey from our own bees. All right, now let's go to Hanny.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。今天要继续读阿里巴巴与40大盗的故事。阿里巴巴取回哥哥的遗体，可能是想要帮他好好的安葬。那么 Sam 老师说的 burial 就是指葬礼埋葬。那么盗贼这时候就意识到还有其他人知道他们的秘密，而首领就想到一个计划，他乔装成一名游商，请求在阿里巴巴的家里面借宿一晚。他把手下们藏入很大的油坛里面，让他们等待信号，然后来发动攻击。单字 signal 它是名词，表示信号、暗号。那文中的 on somebody's signal 就是在某人发出信号时。Jar 名词，它表示罐子或是坛，也有陶罐、玻璃罐的意思。那么 Matt 老师在解释单字时，他提到 cylindrical 就可以形容是圆柱形的。这边有一个重点是 that 引导名词子句的常见用法。首先 that 可以引导名词子句来当受词用，这时候常常会接在表示知道啊、说、想、感觉等等意思的动词后面，像 know、say、think、believe、find、realize 等等。举例来说 I think that it was an accident. It was nobody's fault. 我认为这是场意外，不是任何人的错。第二个 that 子句，它也可以当形容词补语，摆在表示情绪啊、感受或是判断的形容词后面，像是 happy、surprised、worried、sure、angry 等等。例如 She's worried that she might not pass the test. 她担心自己可能无法通过这个测验。好，那接着回到课文中。
Okay, continuing on with our story, we read, that night, Morgiana, a clever slave girl, went to get some oil from the jars and found the hiding men. Okay, so we have this girl who is a slave of Kasim's household, and she's going out and she's like, I just need a little bit of oil, so maybe I can get some oil. And what does she find? Well, a whole bunch of men hiding in these jars. So we have this noun slave. A slave is a person who is basically bought and sold like property. So somebody who doesn't have a choice for whether or not they can work for somebody. They are just bought and brought in, and they have to do whatever work that their owners And again, we use owners or masters because they really are being treated like property. And so they are working for free and they are working for their masters and they just kind of have to follow what they say. So we have our example sentence and it says, the film is about a slave who became free. So they were a slave, they were working, and in some way they were able to get their freedom.
So continuing on, before anyone could make a move, she poured boiling oil into each jar and killed them all. All right, let's...
This part I feel like is so, I can't imagine it. Again, like if she was pouring hot oil in one jar, wouldn't the screaming or whatever wake up everybody else? Are they sleeping? How do they not see her? I don't know. I'm confused by this.
I assume they're sleeping, but yeah, she would have to be pretty fast with the oil to get over 40 thieves.
And also, if she had all this boiling oil, why did she even need to go out to fill up her lamp?
Wow.
Didn't she already have oil?
I don't know. Anyway, so she poured the boiling oil. So to pour something is to make a liquid flow out from a container and it can be poured into something else. So in this case, she's pouring the hot oil out of whatever container she has it in into these jars where the men are, I guess, sleeping. And that's going to hurt if that's boiling oil. Okay, so an example sentence, Theo poured water into the sink.
Okay, continuing on, it says, when their leader gave his signal and got no answer, he ran away in fear. So again, he does whatever the signal that was agreed upon before, and it's supposed to be where all of his 40 thieves jump out and come attack and all of that. Well, nobody answered, so he got a little bit scared and decided to run away.
All right, now let's go to Hanny.
那一晚，聪明的女仆摩吉亚娜去油坛取油，发现了藏在里面的盗贼。她趁众人都还来不及行动，就把滚烫的油倒入每一口油坛里面，把他们都杀死掉。盗贼首领发出信号，却没有任何回应，他就落荒而逃了。好，单字 slave 名词表示奴隶 ，pour 动词它表示倒、倾倒，像倾倒液体，也可以表达大量涌出的意思。接话课文中。
All right, so we just left off with, everybody getting killed, but which is still just so crazy to try to imagine how she's able to accomplish this, but it does make me want to read more. So I would like to get to the next part of the article and see what else is going to happen.
He came back once more and pretended to be a guest at a feast. However, Morgiana knew who he was. As she danced for the guests, she drew a hidden dagger and struck him down before he could do anything. To thank her for her courage and quick thinking, Alibaba granted Morgiana her freedom. He shared the treasure wisely and spent the rest of his days in peace.
All right, so we are back, and again, the leader of the thieves has run away, and he's gone, he's nowhere, but he's still very angry, which, again, rightfully so. One, his money was getting messed with, and then two, all of his other thieves are dead now, so he's probably really not happy, and he still wants to get revenge on Alibaba. So we continue reading, and we see that it says, he came back once more and pretended to be a guest at a feast. However, Morgiana knew who he was. So this Morgiana, she is a very important person in this whole story because she's the one really watching out for Alibaba, I would say. All right, we have this word pretend. This verb just means to act like something that is not actually happening or not actually real. So in our case, we have the king of the thieves or the leader of the thieves. He is pretending to be a guest. He's not actually a guest. He's trying to be secretive about it. He's trying to make people believe that this is true when actually it is not. So our example sentence says, the child pretended that he was asleep. So maybe his parents came in and checked on him, are you asleep? And he wanted to keep playing, but he had to pretend to be asleep first. So he wasn't actually, but he was acting like he was.
All right, getting back to the story. As she danced for the guests, she drew a hidden dagger and struck him down before he could do anything.
Again, she is really the hero of this story, I have to say.
Yeah, she's now saved Alibaba twice in this story. She does seem like a real hero. All right, let's go to Hanny.
后来，盗贼首领又再度返回。这次啊，他假扮成一名参加盛宴的宾客。女仆摩吉亚娜认得他。他在为宾客来献舞时，就抽出他暗藏的匕首，在他行动之前就把他给杀死了。好，单字 pretend 这个动词表示假装、佯装，可以在后面接 to be 或是接 that 子句去表达假装怎么样。那么 Sam 老师在解释单字时提到 secretive， 这可以形容神秘的或是行事隐秘的、遮掩的。那我们接滑课文中。
All right, continuing on, we read, to thank her for her courage and quick thinking, Alibaba granted Morgiana her freedom. Okay, so I would say it's about time because she is really helping a lot and saving this family again and again. And so luckily for her, Alibaba notices that and decides, you don't need to be a slave anymore. I'm going to give you your freedom. You are your own person and you don't have to work as a slave.
He shared the treasure wisely and spent the rest of his days in peace. Okay, so he didn't keep all the treasure for himself. He actually shared it with other people, and that gave him a peaceful life. All right, let's go to Hanny.
故事最后提到，为了感谢女仆摩吉亚娜的勇敢与机警，阿里巴巴给她自由。那他也把财产妥善分配，平安的度过余生。补充一下，这个 grant 当动词，它表示给予、准予，或者是有正式授予的意思。Grant somebody something 就可以表达正式授予某人某事物。那我们接滑课文中。
Okay, now we have a what do you think question. So, what do you think is the main cause of problems in the story?
I feel like this question is a little bit open-ended because, I mean, it depends on where you want to go for the problems. Of course, like one big problem was that Kasim took way too many jewels, so the 40 thieves knew that somebody was in there, and also he got trapped in there, so then that kind of snowballed everything into all the problems that come later. But still, the 40 thieves robbed a bunch of people in the beginning and put all their treasure somewhere, so they also were a big cause of problems too. So I don't know. I don't know exactly if there's one exact answer.
I think the entire cause of problems was that Kasim couldn't remember Open Sesame. If he had just remembered that, there would have been no problems, everything would have been fine, and everyone would have lived happily ever after.
So maybe this whole story is a lesson about remembering things and trying to remember something.
Today, everyone remembers Open Sesame.
Yes. All right, well, that is everything for this story. So let's go ahead and review the article, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alibaba recovered his brother's body, but this helped the thieves realize that someone else knew their secret. Their leader came up with a plan. He disguised himself as an oil seller and asked to stay the night at Alibaba's home. He also hid his men who were ready to attack on his signal inside large oil jars. That night, Morgiana, a clever slave girl, went to get some oil from the jars and found the hiding men. Before anyone could make a move, she poured boiling oil into each jar and killed them all. When their leader gave his signal and got no answer, he ran away in fear. He came back once more and pretended to be a guest at a feast. However, Morgiana knew who he was. As she danced for the guests, she drew a hidden dagger and struck him down before he could do anything. To thank her for her courage and quick thinking, Alibaba granted Morgiana her freedom. He shared the treasure wisely and spent the rest of his days in peace.
最后我们来复习今天课文里的单字文法。单字的部分有 signal 名词表示信号暗号 jar 名词表示罐子坛或是陶罐玻璃罐 slave 也是名词表示奴隶 pour 是动词表示倒倾倒液体或者是大量涌出 pretend 动词表示假装佯装文法的部分我们学到了 that 引导名词子句的常见用法首先它可以引导名词子句当受词常常就会接在表示知道说想感觉等等意思的动词后面，那么它也可以当形容词补语去放在表示情绪、感受或是判断的形容词后面。好，那以上是今天的讲解，同学们别走开，马上回来哦。
Hey, Shane.
Hey, what's up? You look kind of off.
I'm just having one of those bad hair days.
Bad hair days, but your hair looks great.
No, it's just an expression. It means that everything is going wrong today.
Oh, that sounds rough. So what happened?
Well, first I forgot my umbrella, then I went back to get it. Then I missed my bus. So of course I was late for work. And then to top it off, I spilled coffee on my shirt. It was one disaster after another.
That sounds terrible.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Today's idiom is bad hair day.
Right, it's used to describe a day when everything seems to go wrong.
Now, imagine your hair just won't cooperate and it throws your whole day off.
Exactly, and while it can refer to feeling unhappy with your appearance, it usually just means a day when nothing goes right or you're simply in a bad mood.
Here's an example sentence. I'm having a bad hair day and even the simplest tasks are going wrong.
Or, don't talk to me right now. I'm having a bad hair day and everything feels frustrating.
So next time it feels like nothing is going your way, you might just be having a bad hair day.
Absolutely, and that's all for today.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.